Hi, I'm Sadie Clayton, Head of Industry Engagement and Partnerships at LCCA, and today I'm at the one and only shoe retailer, and I'm going to be interviewing the Head of Community, Steph O'Reilly. We're going to be talking all about inclusivity, community-driven initiatives, talking about brand values, and what it takes to be in PR. Come with. Today I am with Steph O'Reilly from the one and only footwear retailer called Schuh, which was founded in 1981. I'm sure all of you are aware of Schuh. They have the most incredible range of brands and the most incredible head of community, Steph O'Reilly. Thank you so much for having us this morning. I can't wait to dive into who you are, what you do. So tell me, let's go back to the beginning. How did you land the role of head of community at Schuh?
I've always loved fashion, I guess, like forever. As like far back as I can remember. Basically didn't have any college qualifications. I left school when I started work. Someone told me you can go to uni without kind of going down that traditional route.
Yes.
So I looked into like foundation years and stuff like that. So I went to Manchester Met, studied fashion marketing, and just did a kind of extra foundation year at the beginning to kind of like get me the basics and stuff like that. On that degree, I realised how much I loved anything to do with like writing and communication, and there was like a placement year as part of the course. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do PR, like that felt like the right thing to do. I also loved AbFab at the time, which
love AbFab. And also,
sometimes, yeah, it's given me like a bad perception of what PR actually is. That's not what it is.
I love that. But just
fun.
quickly to interject, you speak about placements. Do you consider that to be really important, you know, while you're studying, like to try and, because we all, most of our programs do have a professional practice unit, they have to do a placement, an internship, and I'm trying to, you know, kind of showcase how the importance of that and who you meet and your little black book. And would you agree? Would you say that doing a placement's really important?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if it wasn't for that placement, I wouldn't have got my like next job essentially. So like I did it at River Island, which is like a big like pop-in retailer. Yeah. The team were amazing. Like they just threw me into it all. So I got involved in everything. I absolutely loved it.
What was your role there?
So I was on the PR team. So I was like their PR, like their PR intern. I mean, this was so long ago. So it was before like content creators and all stuff like that. So when I did that for a year, and then I left and went back to uni, and then two people from the River Island PR team went to start up the PR team at ASOS, which like was just pretty unknown then. Like they didn't even have like a marketing team or a PR team. And they called me and they were like, do you want to come and work? When you graduate, do you want to come and work for ASOS?
Wow, you must have left such an incredible impression.
I mean, I worked really hard.
How do I
worked really hard for them. Yeah, I did. And I loved it. And they threw me into everything, which I think was really important. Yeah, I don't think they treated it like I was the intern, you know, like I kind of got involved in so much, which was really helpful. So if I didn't do my placement year, I never would have got that job at ASOS. And I stayed there for like 13 years. So
wow, amazing. So you were loyal to the brand?
Yes, I'm definitely like, I think I'm one of those like loyal people. Yeah. I think there's like, you know, there's loads of different ways you can do things. You can move around and get lots of different experiences, but I think I knew at ASOS from pretty early on that I was going to get every experience I ever needed, like in that business, because it was so varied. I worked across so many different launches, and like the talent, like the people that were there, like I just felt like I was learning so much from them all, and some of them have gone on to do such amazing things. And so it never felt dry. It never felt like I was doing the same thing. So that's why I ended up being there for 13 years. So I definitely think there's value in staying in a business for a long time. Yeah. If you feel
really
like
grow with them as well.
And obviously ASOS, it was growing. There was like no other retailer like it at the time. So it was amazing to be a part of that. And then, after like 13 years, I think I felt like I was ready to like lead a department. Sort of thing. I felt like I was ready for my next step, and it just wasn't at ASOS, and that's how I ended up at Schuh. So I've been here for 4 years. So
what was your role at ASOS?
So I started as an assistant, and then when I left, I was like senior comms manager for women's wear, menswear, and face and body, which was there, so everything essentially. So it was quite exciting, which was amazing. Like the beauty side is quite fun. But it was amazing to get the job at Schuh, because I got quite excited about the idea of like drilling down on a particular product area. Because at ASOS, I worked on shoe launches. I worked on the launch of bridal. They had kids when I first started there.
Oh, wow.
They had a kids collection.
Yeah,
back in the day. So I'd really worked on everything, and I quite liked the idea of like becoming a bit of a line expert in an area or whatever. So I've definitely become a lot more obsessed with shoes
Yeah,
now.
you're like the shoe expert.
Yeah, than I was before. But yeah, so that was really exciting to me, like the idea of just having one area to kind of really, really focus on. So I started here as head of PR.
Right. And how long ago was that?
4 years ago.
Okay.
So head of PR, and it's sort of, I always think PR is just like, I always say, PR is just like 2 letters. It doesn't actually mean it. Wherever you go is like, that's when you'll find out what it means, because it's different.
There must
in
be
different
places. For different brands.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
So at schuh, it was your kind of traditional, like, looking after the brand reputation and things like that. But it was also a lot of tapping into the customer. So influencers, content creators, collectives, that was a big part. And then more recently, just I think to move with like how the industry is changing and how customers are shopping, my role's evolved to be head of community, which is what I am now. That's been for like the last 1.5 years. So it still covers PR, talent, but now there's also like a focus on how the other ways we can engage and connect with our customer, how we can like help them understand who we are as a brand, what we stand for, and then help them understand that. We used to do that through PR and talent, but now there's kind of, I guess, like other ways, like more community building initiatives.
Amazing.
That we want to get
you know,
across.
and this is so valuable for especially the fashion management and marketing, or the students that deal a lot with strategies, like PR plans, social media plans, all of that, and new engaging initiatives. I guess that's kind of the key word. And that's what I love about schuh and what you bring to schuh, like all these different projects. So can you tell us about a strategy that you kind of implemented around a new community-led project or a new sort of community-led initiative that really kind of brought the brand to the surface of culture?
Yeah, I think there's a few actually, and I think it's about like, I suppose it's that culture, but there's also like there's subcultures as well. So it's like the different, how you ultimately the customer wants you to understand them, and everyone's quite different. But you know,
can you tell us a bit before we go into?
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit? What is today's customers' shopping habit?
Oh God, so I think it's different
Probably
depending on
different,
like, it's probably dependent on like ages and things like that. So there's a lot of like little like nuances. But I guess the main thing which we talk about a lot is people aren't always like, it's quite rare that someone's like, they don't go out and they're just like, I'm just gonna buy a pair of shoes today. Like they might see a shoe on like a social post that someone's wearing and just save it.
Right.
And then like later, like think about buying it and then go past the shop and then go in and buy it. So I think the journey is really interesting now, because it's not just straightforward.
So they are being influenced by what they're seeing, as
what they're
opposed to what
seeing.
they want naturally.
Yeah, I think like with shoes as well, like you're always going out to get like a pair of shoes. I think it's like just being inspired by things.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we've got all these different like community building initiatives and just trying to help people understand like who we are.
For example, I don't follow shoe trends, and I hate the thought of wearing a pair of trainers that somebody else is wearing. So I know New Balances are a thing, Shocks have now come back. You know, Pumas, like they're huge, like, you know, the animal print Pumas, etc. So so from your perspective as head of community, do you see your like separate communities kind of engaging in different shoe brands and shoe projects? And you know, tell us more about that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the key really to like getting across like a product launch in like an authentic way.
Yeah.
Is like understanding like who the customer is and like who's wearing those like shoes right now, and how you then gonna like, you know, how's that influencing and kind of inspiring other people to wear them as well. So it's like finding those communities who either like wear those shoes or they align with like the values of that like brand or something like that, and then like working with them and partnering with them to sort of to tell the story, to do more like storytelling.
Amazing. Because ultimately, like any other brand, schuh is a business, so you know, you've got to make money. So with that in mind, you've got such an exciting job, which is coming up with ideas and these projects and initiatives. So can you give us a few examples of some of your really cool projects that's really enabled you to work authentically with, I don't know, a community or an influencer or I don't know, another collaborative company and how that's impacted the brand.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's two quite good ones. I think the first one wasn't really like my project. It's something that the business did, but I was lucky enough to be able to like amplify it and kind of get kind of engaged communities. And that's our like single shoe initiative that we've got. So
tell us about that.
So that is where if you've got like a lower limb difference or a disability, like you can come into schuh. We rolled this out last August, but schuh's had this for quite a while, and I can kind of like talk to that. But essentially, you can come into any store and just buy one shoe if you need it, and then we'll sell that to you for like 50% of the price. So it's about like just it's kind of, you know, I think some people might be like, oh, that's like it's quite niche. That's like quite a like small community, but it's not really about that. It's not. We haven't done this to like make profit. Like we're selling like half a pair of shoes. We're not going to make money from that. It's like,
but you're being inclusive.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it's about like a shoes kind of brand sort of ethos is about like freedom and self-expression, and you know, I think having this single shoe initiative is what it means that. And you can come into our shop and enjoy a shopping experience and have the freedom to be yourself.
I love that. Brand values, you always have to link everything back to your brand values.
Definitely, yeah.
Freedom.
Yeah, and we've done that. We rolled it out in store in August last year, but we've had it for quite a long time because we've had models in our campaign with like lower limb differences. We had a model, a couple like who wears a blade. So we've worked with like amputees who wear like 2 shoes, but also like people who only wear 1. So I think it's just about making sure that what we have in our campaign is like reflected at all the different like customer touch points. So
it makes me feel so warm and so connected. I think that's a key word, isn't it? Like connectivity, community, and customer. Like how those 3 sort of work in sync together.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about your customer and how you would kind of engage them with new products or, like you said, new initiatives, new projects? How do you roll that out through social media? We all know that's huge, and is it only going to get bigger and bigger? Obviously, a lot of our students have to work on social media campaigns and PR strategies. So how does that work for you? Like, where do you start with all of that?
Yeah, well, shoes are fairly like, it's mostly like a branded business. We've got our like own label collection, but it's mostly a branded business. So it kind of starts with like the brands that we're working with. I think like collaboration is key. Like, you know, they've got their way of doing things and what they want to get across, but obviously we want to get the shoe like values in there, and so that it makes sense for like who our customer is.
And do you work on that then?
Yeah, so I do. I kind of come in at some point. There's like the buyers and the brand partnership team have like amazing relationships with the brand, so they make my life like much easier because they've got those amazing relationships, and that means we can have like meaningful conversations with brands about how we'd like to launch the product. You know, rather than it just being like a campaign picture of a shoe, like, you know, we can bring things to life in a way that feels really exciting, whether that's through like storytelling on social. It's usually all of this really. There's the storytelling on social. So, you know, working with communities or working with people that align with the products or are kind of inspiring to tell the story of that launch. And then it's like how it shows up in store. So like in-store experiences and just things that are going to make people feel happy, you know, and excited to like come and see the product, really. I really feel like you love what you do, and that is so important. Like we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time, right? So how do you ensure that you keep that energy and that like kind of fire burning within your role and the brand? Can you tell us like a bit of a day in the life of a head of the community shoe? I feel like I've done PR. I've done this for like such a long time, so I think like I definitely need to love it to sort of keep doing it. But I think I can probably only speak for like to where I'm working now. I mean, look, I definitely want to wake up in the morning and be like, yes, come on, let's do this. But I think it's like the environment and stuff. Like schuh has got like such great kind of like values and what we kind of stand for and what we want to get across, and we do want to be like more than just a transactional like retailer. And that is what keeps me feeling kind of happy. You know, I just think I get to work across like that, like a single shoe initiative. Like, that is amazing. Yeah, and the feedback from the customers is like, this has changed my life. Like, and you just think that I got to work on that, so you can see that it's purposeful, isn't it? Yeah, it's so purposeful, and you know, that it's so nice to see that impact, and And I'm lucky in the area that I'm in, like that community area, that I do get to see that, like firsthand, like quite a lot. So just seeing that like joy and seeing how you've made a bit of a difference is why I enjoy it. But yeah, we're shoes. I'm lucky to work here because that's kind of bread and butter, really.
Yes.
They're like, their purpose has been there since like day one, really.
So what does community mean to you?
I think community means lots of different things, like depending on kind of like the context. Like at Schuh, and for me, like in this role, it's about how we kind of connect and engage with like all of our different audiences. And I think that's how my role has evolved to what it is, because it was PR to start with, which was more like traditional, like media relations. That was how you connected with people, or through broadcasts on TV and radio. And then that developed to be like blogs, content creators, influencers. And then that's developed to be more like creatives. We want to like see inside people's days, like who we don't know what a lawyer does, but we want to see what they do, you know, like stuff like that. So it's that's storytelling, exactly, through community. So that's a whole other sort of space. And then, you know, communities also like our employees, like there are like biggest advocates, and especially like teams in our stores who are like speaking to people all day long. Like how do we bring them into the like customer sphere, like, because they're the experts, the people in our like our buyers who know everything about product. It's like our brand partners, like what are they doing, how can we be connecting with them? So yeah, that's what community means to me. I think it's just all the different kind of audiences that you can connect with. I guess that's coming at it from quite a like job brand
it's
way.
Great. That's exactly it. It's great.
But I think like community as well is obviously like how you can feel like part of something.
Yes.
And that's kind of like, and that sort of like comes across, I guess, with, that's what we're trying to do, like help our customer feel like understood.
And heard.
Steph,
where do you think PR relations are going? Right now it's all about storytelling, working with content creators, seeing a day in the life of, having this like really close lens on people's lives and what they're wearing on their feet. Where do you think PR is going?
Yeah, a while ago I probably would have said, you know, it's all social first, like it's going to be like digital only. You know, we like sadly saw some like titles like print mags kind of folding and stuff like that. But then like now I think it's gonna come back. I think like, you know, there's a lot of like conversations about like people kind of like not wanting to be on their screen so much and going back to like analog and kind of style titles like coming back, and these beautiful like print publications, and like Schuh used to have like a magazine. This was way before my time.
Amazing.
So 1998 this one is. So like mad, like long time ago.
I was
and we all know the
8 years
90s.
old.
Yeah,
That's
the 90s are back.
Amazing.
But yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know if Schuh's bringing back their magazine, but I think it's really interesting that people are now looking for these more like real like experiences. And just seeing like the beauty in this kind of more longer form, and like something that just takes a bit longer to create.
It's almost like a longer but slower form.
Yeah.
And like you said, people wanting to get off the screens now. So, you know, students, bear that in mind. Like, you know, you are the next generation. So what is it from a PR perspective? How are you going to enable your brand, your customer, your client that you're working with to think about slowing down, but still appealing to their audience, appealing to their brand, appealing to their customer, so they're still buying into the product, but from a different pace?
Yeah.
And with that in mind, Steph, have you got any sort of new ideas that you can perhaps share with us around how you're going to communicate to your customer about slowing down, you know, kind of bringing back that rawness and just living our life as we should in a slower way and taking in our surroundings rather than this kind of fast pace, I want it now vibe?
I guess it just goes back to like trying to create experiences that slow people down. And that's why, our store spaces are so important. Again, it's like one of those things that, you know, if you read the news or whatever, it's like no one goes on the high street anymore and stuff like that. But it's such an amazing opportunity, and I think it's customers, I guess they just want more than like, I want to buy a pair of shoes today. Yes. They want a reason to like go shopping and a reason to go into town, and that is where brands can like play such an exciting part and kind of create experiences in store. Like you've already, there's brands doing it already with like cafes and little libraries and all stuff like that. So I think it's like,
and
that's the
taking that moment to pause.
Yeah.
And I love this top that you're wearing. Can you tell us more about this project? I think it's so interesting.
Yeah, good. Yeah, thanks for asking. So yeah, this t-shirt, this football shirt for Bays FC. So Bays FC are a East London football team for like women and non-binary or identify as women of Asian heritage. So we connected with one of the founders, Nicole. God, like the beginning of last year, I think. There's a picture of her up there. She worked on that's the first campaign she worked on with us, which is called Together Hits Different. But that was that was like a lovely campaign. It was all about like celebrating differences and how like you can be really different but to someone but still have like this common interest. So they were both like coming from the football space and stuff like that. But yeah, so then we sort of carried on. We just loved Nicole basically and everything that she was doing. So she founded the team, but then she's also like an embroiderer as well. So yeah, we knew we wanted to kind of work with her again. And then this opportunity came up. We had a campaign and we had all this like product. It was like Nike product, and we just knew it was like it needed to be Nicole and her team. I was just like, we just need to tell this story more. Because we told the story there, but it was like a kind of, I guess like two people's story. We were like, we just need to tell the story of like the team and what they sort of like stand for. So thankfully Nicole was like on board and she helped us kind of like, we shot some people in the team and it was like a massive campaign. It was like out of home. We did some like really cool events around it as well, like because Nicole's an embroiderer. We had her doing kind of embroidery for people. Like it was amazing, and it's just one of those campaigns.
So that's an experience.
Exactly. It was just one of those campaigns where like it's kind of like the perfect example, I think, of like how you can storytell like through community, but still hit those like commercial objectives as well. So we were able to like work with this great community, put them in great product. It showed up in our stores. It showed up across marketing. We were able to like, Nicole came to Liverpool. We worked with this amazing female like football festival called Get Your Kits Out.
Amazing.
They're so good in Liverpool.
Get your kits out.
Yeah, they're all about celebrating like football fandom, but for like females, but not necessarily just female football, but just like female fans. And Nicole came. We like kind of helped them we sponsored the event essentially, and they let us sort of have a space there, and Nicole came and was like doing embroidery. She spoke on the panel. And I guess
so it was a whole program. Really.
And then we've helped them along the way with some things, and so she gave me a t-shirt.
Oh, amazing.
But it's been it's a really great relationship, and I think it's just it's such a good example of
an amazing example.
And grassroots space as well, I think is something that schuh is really keen to kind of like tap into more, like especially around like sports and stuff. I think like,
and I guess this is what brands are looking for, like new, exciting, engaging ways and experiences to kind of showcase the product. That's the beeline, isn't it? Like that's the whole point. So what were your customer feedback on this project?
It was great. I think like,
did the Nike shoes sell out?
So there was definitely, I won't be able to remember like percentages or anything off the top of my head, but there was definitely like uplifting like sales, like when the campaign launched, and it just felt like it just felt really credible and authentic. Like it was working with a community that, I mean, I think the fact that they were working with us as well was amazing. Like we were so grateful for that as well, because they don't just work with anyone. And I think, sometimes the bigger you are, obviously, you're kind of working on all these different campaigns, and I think at that grassroots level, they're really particular about who they work with, because they've got such strong values and what they stand for. So,
and it's the reputation that they're building as well, whereas you guys have already got your reputation, and then you can then help foster and nurture these new brands. That's amazing.
So it was a really like beautiful experience for everyone, and I think like we've got this like continued relationship, and just that, I think it was that grassroots like female football space was like a really interesting one for like schuh, and so hopefully there'll be like a bit more of that
amazing
this year.
Fab. I've got two more questions. The first one is around, I want to know more about your role and your team and the word inclusivity. So how do you ensure that within your team you kind of think about inclusivity, diversity kind of opportunities that are aligned with the brand?
Yeah, I think like the thing is with schuh is since like the 80s, since they started, like that kind of progressive individuality, inclusivity, it's been like there from day one. So I do think that like that culture is a little bit, it's kind of always been there at schuh, and it means we attract like-minded talent into the business. So it kind of, we've got that kind of, we cultivate that with like the teams. I mean, the guys on like the recruitment teams are amazing. It feels like everyone that comes into schuh, you're just like, oh, okay, you get it. But yeah, I mean, it's like non-negotiable as part of our teams, you know, like the high street is diverse, like the customer base is
because your team's
diverse.
quite small, isn't it? But you make such an impact with the brand. That's it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it's just making sure that we just want people to feel represented. Like, you know, that you look at a campaign and you're like, oh yeah, that I like that, or that I'm inspired by that, you know. And then you know, I think I've kind of, I don't know if I said this or not, but I think like doing that across your marketing and socials is like so important because it gets across like what you stand for and who you are. But if you don't have that internally as well, like if you're not like holding up the mirror and sort of seeing what you're doing, and then it will quickly sort of fall apart. So I think it's just trying to make sure that we're doing this across all of like the business areas, but our kind of strategy around like purpose and stuff like that is embedded into the business. So even though it's kind of been a part of schuh from sort of day one, like more so recently it's communicated as like part of the vision, part of the mission.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, well, not just me, a lot of people.
But you and your team, but that's, you know, it's important that your story and your message and your, you know, you've also got a job to do. And I do feel that, you know, when you look at social media, you can see that voice coming through and that community and that inspiration and that inclusivity and representation. It's so important.
Yeah,
so you're absolutely nailing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us anything that you've got coming up this year?
There's quite a lot, and it's just all around community building. So at the moment, not to say we're not going to do any like big jazzy moments, like, you know, that's still kind of all TBC. But at the moment, it's like how we can kind of tap into like subcultures, maybe these like I think on the surface seem like smaller and niche, but it's how we can kind of build those communities and then like amplify and share people's stories. So there's a lot of like, it's like little and often at the moment. So
I like that.
So we're trying to do
consistency.
Trying to do more in store. So trying to bring people into our stores. We've got an exciting project in Manchester.
Up north.
Exactly. I mean, that's a really good like thing to flag, to be fair. Like, we don't want to, like, we're based in London, so but we definitely don't want to be just like this brand that does things in London only. Like, it's so exciting, like all the regional communities like across the UK. That's where like there's so much like popping off and loads of great things happening. So that's really important to us. That's why we did that football festival in Liverpool, and we really try and make the most.
You've done something in Scotland.
Whenever we have like a store refit or an opening, we really try and do stuff with like communities in those areas and just try and amplify that. But in Manchester, we've got an opportunity to like use our store windows to kind of work with the local community and creatives, and so there should be something exciting coming.
We'll keep an eye out for that. So Steph, just before I let you go, do you have one bit of advice for our students that can sort of inspire them, educate them, make them excited about community, culture and strategies for brands? I think with like fashion and creativity, we've just got such an opportunity to like embrace like differences and individuality, you know. I think like in some industries it's like a little bit harder to kind of, but fashion and creativity is all about like differences and like trends and like coming up with new stuff and things like that. So I think like just championing like individuality, like passions, and just being like completely yourself and just like really be like just that's amazing.
Believe in what you believe in, you know? Like and I think in fashion and creativity we've just there's no rules really, so I think we should take advantage of that.
I feel like one of the main like takeaways is like authenticity, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, believe in yourself. If you, you know, and if you have got that idea, right, run with it. And yeah, I love that.
Definitely. I think like authenticity is one of those, obviously it's like a big buzzword. It's used a
Yeah.
lot, but I think it's like, it is still, I mean, if someone,
It's
we need to find a
real.
new one, like
Yes.
maybe, but there isn't
Yeah.
one. I think like authenticity is like, it is exactly that. And I
Yeah.
think it is real and like, and just, it just makes such a difference. And like, just, you know, yeah, celebrating the individuality and yeah, and authenticity.
Yeah.
And you know, like sometimes people feel like they're like the only person that's like that, but there's other people
yes,
who are like that, and you
find your
find,
tribe.
yeah, or you're that inspiration, and there's
Yeah.
that person in Scotland who
Yes.
sees your work and they're like, oh my God, that's what I love.
Oh, I love that.
You know?
But also, I love that thought of celebrating individuality. I love that.
Yeah, but you don't need to be boxed in. Like people change, people
Yeah.
flex. Like, but yeah, your authenticity is the one.
Oh,
isn't
I
it?
love it. Thank you so much, Steph. You've been so amazing and inspiring and totally different to any other chat that I've had before around PR and marketing, community, culture. There's all these words, and it's what we all live, breathe, and eat. You know, we're all consumers at the end of the day. We're all buying product. So how you can get your messaging across and storytelling is so important. So thank you. The students, I'm sure, are going to be thrilled to watch this episode. So don't forget to subscribe to Making It on YouTube, Creative Careers Unlocked.